and I'll end with one story because this is something that's a very, very touching story. And just to give you some background of this story, it's about Abu Darda radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Now before I talk about Abu Darda and what I want to get to, Abu Darda radiallahu ta'ala anhu was someone who narrates the hadith about the virtues of knowledge, right? He's someone who traveled around the world seeking and teaching Islam. He had a lot of knowledge, radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And he was overly enthusiastic about, about the deen whenever it came to him. So whenever the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam paired off the Ansar with the Muhajirin, right? Whenever the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to Medina, every Ansari, every local of Medina hosted one of the Muhajirin, one of the people that was expelled from Mecca, the travelers, those who immigrated from Mecca, right? Hosted them in their house. And the Prophet ﷺ paired everyone, a brother from the Ansar with a brother from the Muhajirin, right? Who was the brother of Abu Darda? Salman al-Farisi radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Salman al-Farisi, was he a Muhajir? Yes, not from Mecca, but from Persia. Right? He was going around looking for the Prophet ﷺ from Persia. And he found the Prophet ﷺ in the time whenever the Prophet ﷺ had just made it to Medina. Right? So Rasulullah ﷺ paired Salman with Abu Darda. Whenever Salman gets to the house of Abu Darda, and this was before the ayah of hijab had been revealed. Okay? The ayah of hijab, the command of hijab was not revealed until 4 years after Hijrah. At this time the ayah of hijab had not been revealed. He sees Darda, he walks into the house and she has a cloth that's beat up, right? It doesn't have much, it's got patches all over it, stains all over it. She doesn't, she has blisters on her hands, right? And he feels sorry for her and she says, he says to her, where's Abu Darda? And she says, smiling with contentment, she says, your brother Abu Darda has no need for this world, right? So Salman radiallahu ta'ala anhu wanted to get him home more often. So Salman finds out that Abu Darda is fasting. Salman says, I want lunch. Come to the house and you've got to serve me lunch. We've got to eat lunch together. He brings him home. Forces him to eat lunch with him. Right? And then at night, whenever Abu Darda wants to stand up and pray Qiyamul Layl, Salman radiallahu ta'ala anhu wants to go to sleep. Don't bother me with your qira'ah and things of that sort. He forces him to sleep with his wife. Right? To be with his wife. And then they go to the Prophet ﷺ. And Abu Darda says to the Prophet ﷺ, is what he's doing right? He's taking me away from Siyam, he's taking me away from Qiyam, things of that sort. Right? And the Prophet ﷺ agreed with Salman. He said, verily, Allah has a right upon you. Your family has a right upon you. Yourself has a right upon you. Right? So you have to give each one its due right. So your family has a right upon you. So Abu Darda radiallahu anhu, we can take from that he improved because he's someone that listened to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we can take from that he improved. But his financial situation was never really that great. Right? Darda radiallahu ta'ala anha was someone who used to be around the Prophet ﷺ from a very, very young age, a little girl that used to play in the masjid and things of that sort, and someone who grew up loving knowledge. Right? Now let's fast forward about 40 years. Abu Darda radiallahu ta'ala anhu was about to die. And he's with his wife Darda. Darda radiallahu ta'ala anha never really tasted the sweetness of this dunya because although you can take from this Abu Darda was surely spending more time with her and things of that sort, he never became a rich man. And she's seeing her husband die. And what does she say to her husband at that moment? She says to him, listen, whenever you came to propose for me in this dunya, you asked my father for my hand, and I accepted. So she says to him, so ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for me to be your wife in al-akhirah. Subhanallah, I want to be your wife in Jannah. They were both looking for the same goal, right? Now you could take from that and you could say, that was probably just sweet emotional talk, right? When a person's leaving anyway this life, they start to talk about this type of stuff and everyone gets, everyone becomes nice whenever death is taking place and things of that sort. This is probably why this was all, that's probably why she said all that. But guess what happens after that? When Abu Darda passes away, she gets a proposal, a marriage proposal. Guess from who? From Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan radiallahu ta'ala anhu, who was the Khalifa of the Muslims. She gets a proposal. And Muawiyah radiallahu ta'ala anhu is someone who's wealthy. You know, he's someone who has status in the eyes of the Muslims, right? He's from Kutab al-Wahi, those who wrote the Wahi. He's one of the companions of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he's sending a proposal to Darda radiallahu ta'ala anha. And listen to the response of Darda radiallahu ta'ala anha. She says, I cannot marry you because I'm already engaged to Abu Darda in Jannah. Subhanallah. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What was she thinking of? Where was her heart? Where was her mind? Where was her mission? It was with coming closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that marriage, even though it did not have the things that we would think make a marriage successful and make a marriage good, it had that ingredient that cannot be taken away by any economic crisis, that cannot be taken away by any aging process. It had the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in it. And you look for a person who's going to be, whenever you marry a person, don't think about that person as just being your spouse in this dunya. Think about that person as being your spouse in paradise. Is this a person that I can see getting to paradise? And we know in Al-Jannah, if one person makes it to a higher level of paradise from the family, what did they do to the lower one? Does the higher person go down to the lower one? No, come on up. They drag you up. If you have a family of righteous people, if you have righteous children, if you have a righteous spouse, your wife is more righteous than you, and you just made it into Jannah, and she's up there in Al-Firdaus, she will come down and get you and all of your kids, inshaAllah ta'ala. Right? So whenever you look to get married, look for the person that is befitting to you in this dunya and in the akhirah. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us all with fruitful and with good marriages, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us amongst the righteous ourselves, and we make the dua, even from our childhood, we consistently do make the dua. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين وجعلنا للمتقين إماما ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين وجعلنا للمتقين إماما ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين وجعلنا للمتقين إماما. Oh Allah, grant us from our spouses and from our children the coolness of our eyes, the source of the coolness of our eyes, and make us for the muttaqeen, for the community of believers and righteous imama. Make us leaders amongst the community of the righteous. Jazakumullahu khairan.